Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Spring Championships. This is quarterfinals, the round of 8. This is a pretty hyped, pretty interesting one. This is one I've certainly been looking forward to. H2O, one of the favorites to go ahead and win this tournament. SoldieR, also a very strong player, and I would have said at the beginning of the tournament, also one of the favorites to go very far in this tournament as well. Perhaps win also. In fact, every player in this quarterfinal has that status. All PR 40 plus, very high elo ratings. Let's start though with H2O, possibly the best player of all time. It's been said before, and I'd say it was certainly true back in the day. But H2O returns as from a long break, so to speak, and apparently still has it. Certainly still very good. We thought perhaps he's a bit rusty. Perhaps he's no longer the best player in the game. Certainly people like Nagayumi and Blackstar, currently very good as well. But no, currently is undefeated. Very strong player indeed, and has got this far without losing a single match. Absolutely incredible. But H2O, as we know, competed in the 2007 and won the 2008 World Cyber Games for Age of Empires 3, the Asian Dynasties expansion, and is widely regarded as the best player of all time. Certainly very strong, as I said. Here he is playing as the British in the color blue. Venny, do you wanna tell us about the other guy?
Okay, so I'm ZudaZuda.
Oh yeah, you're ZudaZuda.
And Venny Vidivici is the guy that we just watched. But
never mind.
Aside from
Whoops.
that,
it's because I've just been casting his games for like 3 hours solid, right?
Yep.
Okay, my apologies, Zuda. I'm joined by Zuda, everybody, not Venny. Oh my god, how embarrassing. Go ahead.
but SoldieR spawning down here in the south side of the map. He is the red German player, and everything looking pretty status quo in his base. Everything looking pretty normal. Of course, it was a 100 coin crate start, meaning he wasn't able to get a TP or a market or anything of that regard going. So everything looking pretty normal down here, and he is obviously, as Interjection mentioned, a very skilled player, and it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he can take a game off H2O. I count winning a game off of H2O in this series as a win for SoldieR. Nothing against SoldieR, he's an absolutely great player, but that's just how highly I rate H2O on his current form. So certainly if H2O loses a game, I think a lot of people will be shocked, but if there's someone who can do it, I think certainly SoldieR is a prime candidate. So we'll have to see.
Absolutely. Been around for a very long time, has been SoldieR. Never truly left, always been about, certainly practices a lot every time there's a tournament, and why not? If you're good at the game, if you enjoy the game, there's a competitive setting in which to enjoy that.
Oh, rest in peace, there goes Interjection. But yeah, like Interjection was saying, like SoldieR's been around for basically forever. Like, pretty much started playing the game in 2005 when it came out. Has continued to play it consistently.
Looks like we have a 80 food treasure coming in. I think H2 is going to be perfectly okay there, but certainly that Explorer, very low hit points, is going to be able to do a lot of damage. Oh, did you see him switch to the... Could have lost... Well, I don't think you'd have lost it.
Nah, the Explorer wasn't in position for...
Yeah, he doesn't want to take the Explorer. Is that monkey a bit too scary? I mean, Freitag, the pet...
Freitag the pet Mackie. He's a scary guy.
Yeah, he's... Oh, look at the hit point exchange here. Yeah, I can see why, perhaps. Once that monkey goes down, though, maybe he can... no, he's got too far away. He's not going to get into hand combat there. But sorry, I interrupted you. SoldieR been around for a while, as I was...
I don't even remember what I was saying. I think I was just spewing BS like I do.
No BS. Very relevant. Oh, they're still fighting, though. Look at this.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is H2O okay with this? I guess he is. I mean, they're both...
So the thing about this is, he knows that they're both aging up, right? And SoldieR likely wants to be building a trading post at this point. And so anytime that he's distracting SoldieR's Explorer is just slowing him down from building potentially a trading post. Also, when they're fighting out over here on this side of the map, SoldieR doesn't... Well, he probably can't even build this one because it's too close to H2O's base. But he probably doesn't want to maybe even necessarily build this trading post. Ideally, he probably wants to get down here to build on this trading post just because it's going to be the most out of the way, safest, closest to his base trading post. And by just continuing to engage with his explorer in the manner that he was doing there, he's just slowing down any potential that SoldieR would have to get his explorer into a position to build that safe trading post. But looks like that's all going out the window. SoldieR said, guess what? We're playing aggression.
Oh, forward barracks coming down. He doesn't want to do that Fortress Age agenda. Of course, Germany have very strong villager shipments, can have a very nice timing pressure, and likewise usually build a trading post to help them out in the Fortress Age, but hasn't gone with that, has gone with the forward barracks instead. And H2O, his explorer was sort of like hanging around here. I think he was sort of waiting for that trading post. Has he seen this? Well, clearly he has. There's houses nearby, but okay, H2O clearly like adding in a wall already. Look at these walls. Wow, these are really nice. They're just really nicely placed.
He's also got prime vision out here with these two manor houses. He's going to know exactly what's going to come out from SoldieR.
Yep, no
surprises.
That's true. But five pikemen now popping out. Those are going to be quite useful for sieging. They're certainly going to be good against any cavalry, but probably sieging. There's no cavalry here.
Yeah, and those 5 pike, I'm not sure like what they're going to do. I mean, they're just going to be part of his mass eventually. It doesn't necessarily per se want to pull down those manor houses, just because like Brits are never going to be hurting for population. And I already
perhaps had he scouted his opponent, perhaps he thought his opponent may have had a stable. I mean, he didn't know at that point, so starting pikes is sort of very safe.
It's safe. It's definitely
rather
safe.
than getting 5 crossbowmen and get absolutely annihilated by your first opponent's batch of 5 cav. So I understand what he's up to there.
Also rounds out the composition nicely now with the 2 Ulans, the 5 pikes and the 5 crossbows. Just gives him a very safe, threatening opening, regardless of what his opponent would be making. So, but at the same time, this is also giving H2O time to get up the required resources to get this little batch of longbowmen rolling. And certainly, you know, the longbow, when they get massed, are one of those units that are very, very threatening to deal with. And this may even just be a situation where SoldieR says, you know what, maybe this isn't going to work out. Ships 700 coin and just tries to age up off the back of this. We can see he's adding in a trading post at this point, and maybe he's not even going to be able to eventually roll this into any pressure. Maybe he's just planning on eventually just transitioning into the 3rd age as well.
Yeah, that's true. But 2 cav coming in. Doesn't look like they're going to get too far. Really, really nicely done with the longbowmen heading them on. And then the pikemen coming in. Can he? Yeah, manages to catch both of these. Just going to neutralize those free Ulan that Germany get. No raiding in it. Like, that threat is no longer here. Plenty of longbowmen as well.
Yeah, and SoldieR's got to make a decision what he's going to do here. So it looks like, okay, there's his decision. He's going to drop down a 2nd rack. So I was going to say, he's either got to, like, commit more to making more units, or he's got to, like, start transitioning over to gathering some gold so that he can, like, get either more upgrades or get aged up or something. Like, it seemed like he just wasn't decisive in what he was going to do. And H2O starting to build a fairly scary mass, and the German player definitely, like, you don't just want to allow the British player to just boom. I mean, the Brit player has already had 8 minutes to do basically whatever he so chooses without really any consequence, and that's not something that Germany can allow to continue, because as we can see, the eco already starting to get largely in favor of H2O, up to 35 villagers, and that's not something that should be allowed to continue to happen if the German player wants to be able to win this game.
Yeah, I was recording this, but now I've decided not to. I'm not going to record anything. I'm just going to get everything out the stream VODs. I think that's the best thing to do. So I was just doing that whilst that was happening. Yeah. So what do you think of this starting in pushing it for a colonial age game and not having a Fortress Age agenda?
I mean, it's okay. I would have liked to see the pressure ramped up earlier, and I would have liked to see the racks in a position where it wasn't immediately scouted by 2 manor houses. I think both of those factors are very heavily in Brit's favor at this point in the game. And with just look how many longbows there are, and the sheer DPS of these longbows, how many crossbows are dying in this retreat. This just doesn't feel like it's working. It feels like there's already too many longbow for him to be able to deal with. And there is no coin from SoldieR. It's not like he's got a big cav follow-up or anything followed up from this. Usually, when you do this sort of early expo pike type of aggression, you need to bank on the fact that you can apply some pressure really early on to your opponent and kind of get some effective trades. But I think that window is kind of closed now already, and it doesn't seem like he's setting himself up for being in a position where he can win. I don't know. Maybe he can trap the
Ooh, is he going to get in between? They're not going to let them back through the gate. I think they should be okay, though. I don't know. At this point, there's a lot of cavalry from a lot of pikemen from the red player, and it just feels like since they're not crossbowmen, they're not hugely useful. There's not really that many cavalry here, but there is a fight underway. There are still quite a lot of crossbowmen here, and blue, I don't know.
Yeah, this has gone as good as I think could be hoped for SoldieR. Minutemen coming now in for H2O as well. Lots of pike have died from both sides, but neither side really has a big batch of cav to reinforce, so that's not going to be too big of an issue. And at the end of the day, a fairly good win there for SoldieR.
Wow, look at the military population. I think that he came out really well in that fight. I was expecting the longbowmen to achieve more, but I think the fact that the pikemen got up really close and personal with them in cover mode meant that they couldn't do their ranged attack. They were just doing the really punny 11 damage in hand mode, whilst the crossbowmen in the back were doing a ton of damage. And ultimately, that was really nice for him. Adding in 700 coin now. See what he wants to do with that. Perhaps add down a stable.
I think,
yeah, throw out some cavalry, which is going to be really quite effective against a crossbowman. Could age up though less likely. Certainly, there's the stable.
There's the stable. Yeah, he needs to stabilize here again.
Oh,
but I'm just full of these play on words.
Yep, stabilize by building a stable. How funny. Yep, add in the cavalry to stabilize. That's hilarious. Guarantee. Yeah, okay. Continue.
I think he'll still be okay. I mean, obviously the longbowmen have an insane range. He's still got some resources available to him in his base. He's got, importantly, this hunt in the back side of his base that is completely walled in and very, very safe. He's got coin mines for days still. So,
wow. But he's going to force all of these villages off, right? He doesn't want to go in just yet.
Yeah, it's hard to push into longbows in a choke like that, like the DPS factor from longbows. And you have to consider that because the longbows have such a large range advantage, not only do the crossbows have to get into range to fight the longbows, but then they have to be able to stand there and fight for long enough that actually justifies them like just standing there and fighting. Because if you retreat out with the lower ranged units, you're going to lose a lot of units as you're retreating out.
So rangy.
Yeah.
And you have to be sure. You can't dilly-dally around. You really have to commit to it or not versus longbowmen. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But H2O, cavalry starting to come out. Behind this has cavalry hit points as well.
And SoldieR gearing up for an age here as well. So this could be like a bit scary for H2O if he doesn't scout this out appropriately. He doesn't catch wind of the fact that SoldieR is likely trying to age here. This could be problematic for him because he needs to push out.
Too much into just straight up cav or have something.
We can see SoldieR's aging. Like he's aging, and there's no way that H2O is going to be able to age here. And certainly if H2O were to move out across the map now, like this would be the time that he wants to fight, and this is what he needs to identify. And I think he has identified it. I think he's realized that his opponent's
not pressuring him,
pressuring him, that he's likely aging. And now that there's 10 Hussar out on the map, he's got cav HP. This is a really good time for him to push. This is a very good time. And now certainly seeing the fortress age. Completed.
No doubts about what is going on here. He knows his opponent's was aging, and he can see for sure now he's just spent 2,200 resources not making military units, and obviously he's not going to have any cavalry out in the same way that perhaps H2O is, or any other units indeed. And certainly this does not look too good. These crossbowmen out of position, and it's going to be at least 30 seconds before anything relevant can come out from being in the fortress age to block these cavalry here. Fortunately, though, does have some pikemen and some cavalry, can certainly use those to block off these cav. And just if he can hold on for perhaps a minute longer, this investment will pay off. But H2O likely going to try and capitalize as much as he can in this timing window, do as much damage as he can.
Yeah, and there has been both cav HP and cav attack that have finished here for H2O, so these cav are very, very strong for him.
Yeah, but look at those in the back there. A couple of Yulan coming in. Nice cheeky Yulan. Are going to do quite a lot of damage to the longbowmen. Take out a few of those before H2O can get his blue Hussars back. But they're now down. But he's evened up these numbers pretty well. Look at the cavalry shipment. The 9 Yulan shipment has arrived. All of these longbowmen out of position. There's not really anything here to to stop them from going down. And in the numbers, if you look at the straight up, let's go to the military tab here. Yeah, there are 30 crossbowmen compared to 24 longbowmen. At this short range, they're very even.
SoldieR's done it. He's won this game. He's won game number 1.
Wow. SoldieR, more cavalry coming out, first batch there, and obviously the veteran upgrade is active as well on these, has cleared up these longbowmen. Zuda saying he's won the game, not quite just yet, but certainly in a very commanding position to go ahead and do that. Plenty of coin. Oh no, he's just spent some. I thought perhaps gearing up for a merc shipment there. I wasn't too sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, H2O has run out of resources in a bad way, and look at the score differential. SoldieR's up in age. There's no way Brits can age behind this, and now with just the upgraded cav that are out running around on the map, there's not a good way for H2O to deal with this.
This is brutal. Those villages, they're going to have to fight. Yeah, he's got the Greatcoats upgrade. They do have some extra HP. They're going to be able to do some, they're going to have to help fight here rather than run. But the pikemen just a little bit too slow. And a few villagers were killed and obviously not gathering either. And here comes the storm. Those crossbowmen possibly may upgrade them, may not though. Wow, the cavalry. He's just received his 8 cab shipment, trained even more, all veteran. Look at that. Germany flooding cav onto the battlefield. Yeah. Germany just produced so much cav from those shipments, and the fact that they have 3 Yolans for free here. And look at this fight. H2O calls it. GG, losing his first match quite convincingly.
Wow. And Ryan is H2O is mad. You can see, like, he resigned and GG out. Like, I don't know. That was impressive. I did not think. I actually thought that SoldieR was going to get 4-0'd, and he starts out by winning game number 1. Well done by him. Really well done.
Well done to him. It's an achievement, right? It's impressive. And all those people on Goodspeed's sort of a fake betting thing where you bet with imaginary points. Yeah. Oh, get wrecked!
There are some very disappointed people right now.
There are some people who put a lot of fake points into that one. Oh, that was fun. All right. Thank you very much for watching this game, though. We do have the next one coming up. This is a best of 7, this first match. Relevant, but perhaps not in the grand scheme of things. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Wow. That's all I can say as well. Like, that greatly surprises me. Like, I mean, certainly, as I mentioned, like, SoldieR, if there was going to be a person who would have a chance to do it, SoldieR is definitely a prime candidate. But I still was not expecting that decisive of a victory out of SoldieR in game number 1.
But the issue here now is H2O looked fairly emotional coming out of that game. It was like GG, out, quick succession, out. Is he perhaps a little bit angry? I know he was telling me it was
he's definitely random, or he's definitely rattled. Like he is a player who does.
He's always said German is a civ that he doesn't like. Always said that. He says it's a strong civ.
Germans are one of SoldieR's better civs. I mean, obviously, SoldieR still has to win 3 more games, which it's good, really good. I'm really actually glad that he won a game because it shows that H2O's not this unbeatable player.
Force of nature, Savage Raw.
But at the same time,
innovate Savage Raw.
He still has to win 3 more games, which
he does. Can he do it though? That is the question. Looks like though for this next map on Hudson Bay, obviously SoldieR can no longer play Germany. Oh, where's he gone? He says bye. What's going on? Okay, I'm retiring Gaia style.
A little bit of trolling. That's what's going on.
Wins a game and he's gone. That would have been
going out on top.
Yep. I don't know. I don't think I would not enjoy that, but that was funny. That was a joke. I love how he left as well. That was
committed to the joke.
That was kind of funny. Wins a game, goes out Gaia style. That was funny. I'm gonna give him a 10 out of 10 for that. Sorry, Gaia, if you're watching, but that was kind of funny.
I wonder what Civ SoldieR will play next, though, because he can't play Germans.
He cannot do that.
And I don't think he doesn't want to mirror H2O. I'm surprised H2O. I'm very surprised H2O is not playing his standard. I'm going to mirror you no matter what you do style. Yeah, there we go. This is what I expect. This is for people who are unaware. This has always been H2O's style, where no matter what civ you play in a tournament, he will just chase you around and play a mirror, no matter what you want to play, because he's very confident in his mechanics, and as a result, like, he feels like if he's playing a mirror, that he's going to have a better chance to win. So, to be perfectly fair, probably expect mirrors from this point on out. It looks like it's going to be a French mirror. His heart is pounding out of his throat.
Ladies and gentlemen, SoldieR's heart is pounding out of his throat, as confirmed by the message in the chat. Absolutely. Yeah, mirrors here on out seems like a reasonable thing, but I don't know. I think H2O is pretty set on playing Japan no matter what on Siberia, irrespective of whether it's going to be a mirror. So, but then it could be a Japan mirror. Who knows? We'll certainly see what happens. There's a lot of games underway, but H2O lost his first match. That is the first match of this tournament that he has lost.
Yeah.
But here he is in the north of the map. No, the north of the map. Just like, I mean,
west of the map.
East and west are a thing I've consistently found difficult, which I'm now very good at doing. But north and south, like,
still a foreign concept.
How did I not? All right, here we have in the west of the map.
You almost did. Oh, by the way, bugged map.
Why?
No trading post. Okay. All right, it's up to him. He doesn't. He's missing a TP spawn, so it's.
Oh. He's okay with no TP? That seems like. What treasures has he found? What's he found? 40 wood. Does he come across? Why does he not want to?
There could be a chance that, like, he knows that this timing has come through and, like, he wants that trading post right there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's got that guaranteed
there's probably a chance that he's only going to make one TP in this game anyways. I mean, that's a very strong possibility. It's fairly unlikely that these middle trading posts will actually be a thing, but I don't know. It's something I noticed and I wanted to make sure they were aware of. But
we offered it to him. He doesn't want it. That's fine. We're going to keep going anyway.
Yep.
Clearly doesn't think it's going to be a factor in this game at all. I'm kind of annoyed at how I thought we were going to restart, so I just stopped commentating, and now there's going to be this patchy bit in the video. But it doesn't matter. Never mind.
Fine.
Yeah, there is that. But yes, here we have H2O, and on the other side of the map, in the color red, playing as indeed the French, it is a mirror, as well, everyone's probably worked out. We do have SoldieR.
And I do also want to mention that you said that SoldieR could play a Jap mirror. That's very unlikely. I think that's one mirror that we're not likely to see, and just because I haven't really seen SoldieR ever play Japan. I don't know if SoldieR actually, like, really plays Japan.
Is H2O going to lose his scout? I think he is. I think trying to slow that red one down, he wants to kill it off. He wants to neutralize both scouts. Can he get it? Is it going to get away? Is it still in range?
Yeah.
Last shot takes it out. I'm not sure how he fell over in that particular direction. That didn't really make sense, but does manage to neutralize.
He tripped over the trading route.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Naturally. There's like a rut from. It's because this guy, right? So this guy who's, like, pulling this thing, the horse is, like, pulling this carrot. Like, obviously there's going to be ruts in that road, right? Because there's, like, no wheels on this thing. There's just, like,
oh, that's true.
The
yeah,
big logs. So there's naturally going to be ruts. He tripped over.
Thanks for.
He tripped over one of those ruts and just, like, fell down on his face. Head over heels.
Never to get back up again.
Yeah, tumbled down.
Sad. But you don't think we'll see a Japan mirror, you were saying?
No, just because I don't think SoldieR necessarily plays Japan, and I think that's the one matchup. Like, if you think of when H2O played his most competitively, it was WCG, right? And all that were played in WCG were Japan mirrors. He knows that matchup better than any other matchup. I think SoldieR is better off just trying to go for some sort of, like, even something like China or something that has a chance and, like, just has a build you can execute, and maybe, like, Ryan will get a bad spawn or something, and you'll get some good treasures, and you can just, like, take the win like that. I don't think it's probably wise to play H2O on a Japan mirror on Siberia.
Yeah, but that's probably true, especially since, you know, for everything you've saying. So maybe we won't see a mirror, but French mirror certainly here. What do you think of this?
I'm curious to see how this will end up playing out. We can see SoldieR has aged up really, really quick. SoldieR, in fact, is already in the colonial age.
Went up on 12 villages.
Aged up on 12 CDB. So I think we're going to see some sort of interesting build from him. No market. It looks like it's just going to be like that really fast, stable build where you get out a really early stable. He'll probably ship 3 Hussar as one of his first shipments and just try and brute force his way through H2O's base. And I think H2O has scouted it. We can see that he saw the early age up. His scout has seen the early single stable. And he's even brought back the villager that was out here herding. I think H2O initially had intentions of doing like some sort of similar build to what we saw Venny do in the Frenchman with like the forward racks, forward stable type shenanigans. But having seen this very early stable has pulled back that villager, and it looks like he's just going to commit to defending at home for the time being.
Yeah, doesn't want to have a because I think did he go up on a on what would be a 10-10? I don't know if I necessarily saw the house we were talking about.
He did
scout tripping over.
He must have done a 9-10. Yeah.
Yeah, a 9. Well, you
or a 12-10.
Yeah, where you go to 9 villages and then overpop because you send the shipment. So didn't build a house, most likely, just left it on the floor, and the wood on the floor, that is, so that you gather more food, age up more quickly, and then once you get the market during transition and all of that stuff. 5 cav come out super fast, and then follow up with the 3 cav shipments. You have 8 cav, but hasn't done that since 700 wood followed by 4 villages. So this is interesting. The fact that he's decided going up so quick is a good idea. He's going to be 2 villages down for the rest of the entire game now if he's going to continue to play standard. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Perhaps the speed is, I don't know. Do you think though these early cav are going to get enough raids to justify it?
I think it's unlikely. It's certainly like. You also have to look into the fact that, he gets 2 things out of doing this build, right? One thing he gets is he obviously gets the earlier cav for the earlier pressure. It gets to kind of cause some disruption in H2O's base. That's all fine and good. But at the same time, both players had a very early trading post, and by getting aged up earlier and getting into the second age, like, take a look at the shipments. Like, he got his 700 wood shipment at 4 minutes and 33 seconds.
Wow, that's true.
He's basically a full shipment cycle ahead of his opponent at this point. And so maybe
700 resources. The tempo is real. Yeah,
the tempo is pretty good there. So obviously, the longer the game goes, and when the shipment values start to get higher and longer and more drawn out, and both players have shipped an even number of shipments.
And he found himself 160 XP as well. Actually, but go ahead.
It's not as important, but for the time being, it is actually a bit of a big tempo swing. And H2O only got out 1 cav in his first batch, so the unit disparity is quite significant at this early stage in the game. Yeah,
there's that. But I don't know. The tempo doesn't seem to be making a huge use of it at the moment. H2O sitting back is okay. Hasn't been punished for that 1 cav that came out, as you mentioned.
But like, what can he really do? Like, look at where H2O's villagers are. The building wall is very well placed.
The way he's built his base, very nice.
It's just hard for him to get in. Which, I mean, on this particular map and on just high hunt maps in general, the tempo base play a little less important. And perhaps H2O demonstrating that fact right here with the fact that he is perfectly fine despite the rather slowness to his build compared to his opponent.
Yeah, he's happy to play completely normal, have those 2 extra villages, but having said that, I don't know, 23 each at the moment.
Yeah.
I thought like the fact that his opponent aged so slowly is going to put him 2 villages behind permanently, but it doesn't look like that's the case. Did we miss? I don't think we missed any raiding. Perhaps some inconsistent macro, something like that. But cavalry coming in, are they going to get caught? Oh, he engages there right up, but the musketeers behind him. He then suddenly realizes I don't want to do that, but fortunately does have his mass of his own coming in on top of it. Neither player wants to commit here. Certainly H2O does not. I mean, all he has to do is get back to his base, can ship 8 crossbowmen and have Minutemen arrive at the same time, and then push back out. Doesn't want to commit there. Why do it? SoldieR though also doesn't want to do that. Perhaps a bit worried about that exact thing. 8 crossbowmen just arrived.
It's a game of seconds here. Like, SoldieR, because of his build, is just you can see just in the shipments tab, he's always 20 seconds ahead. If he hits one of those timings where he's 20 seconds ahead and actually can force a fight, looks like he's going to force a fight now.
Gonna force a fight. Yero's 3 cav has just arrived as well. They're about to enter the fray. 10 musketeers, though, pop out on the other side and now sort of sandwiched. Can't really escape. Would have to go through the trees and some sort of irritating pathing there. Getting caught out of position, perhaps, just to this batch popping out. And his, obviously, batch of 10 takes a long time to arrive since his barracks is in his base. That was a devastating fight. It goes to show how exponentially harder you will win a fight if you have more units.
Yeah,
and now, gonna chase down these 10 musks with these 2 cav, and obviously they're being snared, they're gonna be slowed down, and this big ball of musketeers is gonna catch up and do some damage.
Yeah, and that went very decidedly in H2O's favor, which is not going to be easy to recover from. And this is what I was talking about with the mirror and H2O's style. He's confident, like, anything you can do, I can do better, and he's just going to play. He's going to play like the same composition, and he's just going to try and out position you and out macro you and out micro you. And certainly in that fight, the positioning was very key for him there, and I think he's going to be able to roll that into a victory here. We can see the military population is very decidedly in H2O's favor at this point, and now SoldieR going to start running out of resources, going to run into issues where even 2 Hussars is going to give him quite a bit of issues, and things are starting to look not so good for him at this point.
I think, wanted to play off his tempo, knew that he aged up soon, knew he wanted to make something happen, and the safer thing to do is not to attack your opponent. But goes for that tempo lead anyway. Perhaps knows that his opponent is better than him and knows that he needs to do something funky to catch his opponent off guard.
And I think that's a valid point and a valid way to play. Like, certainly if I were playing against H2O, which I'm not, so I can say whatever I want and justify it in whatever way seems somewhat reasonable, and people will be like, oh yeah, that seems reasonable. But certainly if I were playing against H2O, like, I would not try and throw standard looks at him. The way that I would try and beat him is by playing like completely off the wall and playing like A's style. Just play weird builds that he maybe hasn't seen or isn't accustomed to, and that's kind of what I think SoldieR was going for. Maybe the effect he was going for here. He was, he accepted the vanilla mirror matchup, but then tried to give H2O a look that he had maybe not seen before with this kind of strange build. And it didn't work out in this particular instance, but I think it's a valid way to play against H2O.
Yeah. But we see H2O 30 military population up as a direct result of that fight in his base. The economies are very even, so equal military population going to be arriving. Stable goes down, and here you can see Blue has a much larger army. The cavalry running around.
Just trying to get everything back in order. Just running away from the Minutemen best he can. Just going to try and cut away. Got some reinforcing crossbows going to come in, add a nice mix of damage, and
I like that, the addition of crossbowmen. If you can afford the wood, it does make your sort of mirror musk mass better.
Yeah.
Certainly they're more cost-effective at countering musketeers, that is true. But yeah, SoldieR calling in his villagers as well here, knows he has to pull everything together to really repel this, and he sort of has to repel this, otherwise it will just walk through his base. And French villagers are very good at that, have a 40% ranged resist, have a pretty reasonable ranged attack, and a lot of hit points, especially after greatcoats. They're very useful, but at the same time, all of H2O's villagers are back home, like the resources, and there'll be reinforcements, whereas there won't be for SoldieR. But here, the blue has been repelled, and they successfully have a hunt right next to them to start gathering from, which is pretty good.
Very convenient, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I like the fact he kills off the coyotes, perhaps for some extra XP.
Extra XP, and makes it so that he can't misclick on them in the middle of the fight as well.
That's true. Wow, that's some really, really interesting things going on here. But at H2O, despite the scores being... having said that, though, look at the military population.
They're going to start to swing in H2O's favor at some point, just because he's gathering, whereas SoldieR's continually having to bring these CDB up into the fight just to stabilize and make sure he has somewhere to gather from. He's not going to be able to continue to reinforce. Look at H2O's bank. He's got 600 food unspent right now. Versus SoldieR, who's got pennies in the bank right now. He doesn't really have any extra resources. And
continuing to fight with villagers. In fact, H2O doing that as well, actually. I don't know, it was just getting caught. That was the issue in his opponent's base. What do you think of instead building the trading routes and Come to think of it, maybe that's why he
aging
didn't.
up. Yeah, could have maybe aged up. Well, I mean, he doesn't have a trading now, right? He's already accepted the fact that he's not going to have a TP there.
No,
So.
I meant for SoldieR though. Like instead of
Sure.
taking that fight, like sit back. You're the one leading with the tempo. I don't know. I feel like maybe you do have to make something happen, but at the same time, if you have map presence, take the trade routes.
Yeah, maybe. There is only one extra trade route to take because of the bug nature of the map, though. Looks like H2O is just going to bring everything up, and we can see like this. This is the point now where like H2O still had money in the bank.
Oh, SoldieR sends the Wilderness Warfare for the extra hit points on his Carreras. Wow, okay.
It's actually
Still
fairly
fighting.
significant, yeah.
Yeah, but well, H2O certainly has more villagers now, but I don't think they're both using the villagers. This is madness. H2O has no food left, so has to pull everything together. Yeah. Only has villagers right now collecting food up here on this last remaining thing to maintain villager production.
He has money in the bank though, yeah, still. And he still has 400 unspent resources in his bank, and that's eventually going to start working towards his favor. We can already see that slightly in the scores, but just in the reinforcement. Like here comes 6 more musks into the fight, and SoldieR's not getting quite as many musks with each reinforcing batch.
This is true. Obviously, it's less villagers working. And here they return to work, but now just comes back in to disrupt that flow again, forcing them off, make sure they never work, and
just picking off the low HP ones where they're available. I also like the fact that he's like only bringing in one musket or like one CDB, a couple CDBs at a time, just to like help soak some of the damage while making sure he's not wasting his villagers unnecessarily as well.
That's true. And of course, SoldieR and both players, in fact, have to be very careful here to make sure they're not shooting the villagers, because they have so many hit points and such a high ranged resist that if you're shooting villagers, the high DPS units in the back won't be taking damage and they'll neutralize you and they'll catch up. So you've got to be careful here. That's why all the villagers are on the front. So when the attack moves, they'll select the closest target to them, which are these villagers. So he can't attack move. He has to really micro and make sure he's killing the units with low HP.
Looks like he's finally made it here now. He's broken through the front lines. The villager counts are decidedly in H2O's favor now at 35 CDB versus 23 in the military population, similarly in H2O's favor. And I think moving forward from here, it should be fairly straightforward of a victory for H2O.
Yeah, gonna be okay with that now. Pulling in more CDBs.
Well, that being said, like the CDBs just keep coming.
This game could go on for a lot longer because there are still CDBs, but
CDBs are just so hard to kill with that many hit points and that much range resistance.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's still clearly in H2O's favor this one. But SoldieR wants to, it's an important game.
Yeah, and now there's also a low enough military count from SoldieR that it's fairly easy to focus down the actual DPS dealing units in these fights, so that's beneficial as well. These CDB from SoldieR just don't know where to go.
And he said Spice Trade as well, despite not collecting. I feel like Pioneer's in the deck. But, there we have it, 5 cav coming out. No, those things negate, of course, the 40% range resist, since they do melee damage. And SoldieR sees it, knows he cannot continue to fight that because, well, look at his army. It's literally just villagers fighting with a couple of crossbowmen in the back. That is the end of the game, though. H2O bringing the score back up to 1-1. We're going into our third one right about now. Do not go anywhere.